I saw my wife on CCTV being super touchy with her male friend in our home. She's pregnant, and I'm starting to doubt if the kid is mine. Now, I'm demanding that a DNA test be done. Posted by you/throwaway151702. My wife, 38F, and I, 39M, have been together for 12 years. I don't know how to describe it other than by calling it the perfect relationship. I think in 12 years, we've only ever gotten to the point of really raising our voices at one another maybe 2 or 3 times. We do everything together, but we have never had issues allowing each other to lead our own lives and follow our own interests. We bought a house where we wanted. We both have good, high-paying jobs that have a great work-life balance. Basically, it's been everything short of perfect. We've been trying for 2 years to get pregnant, and it hasn't been happening. We were just about to start the fertility stuff when I came home from a work trip, and guess what? She's pregnant. I had this weird, instant thought of, wait, I thought we didn't try during the week last month because of the fertility testing? But I couldn't remember exactly because, to be honest, we were busy at it. So I just assumed I had forgotten. Now, I travel around the country pretty regularly for work. Other than COVID, I've been on the road as much as 40 weeks a year sometimes. Since COVID, it has been less, but still more than a week a month. Over the last 4 to 5 years, my wife has gotten very friendly with a guy she works with. Let's call him Matt. Matt is slightly younger. I think he is 34 or so. I know him. He's married, and I know his wife. They've worked together for, I think, 7 years or so. He's always been around, and he and I have been friendly. Have I ever thought something was happening? No, but I've always thought you'd be a fool not to think there's even a 1% chance your spouse would go outside the relationship. Maybe I'm naive, but I've always seen it as a safeguard to not take my wife or any other partner in the past for granted. She's never given me a reason to think she'd do that. But anything is possible. So about a month ago, I was out of state for work, and she's at home. I ask her what she's doing earlier in the day, and she says Matt is coming by for dinner. Matt is not out of the ordinary. He comes by from time to time. Sometimes with his wife, sometimes without, and sometimes when I'm not there. I don't think much of it. We have a security system that includes cameras both inside and outside of the house, which we installed after an unrelated incident a few years ago. They record and are accessible live to both her and me. I often use those cameras to check on the dog when I or both of us are away, as the rest of the system is monitored by a company in case of an alarm going off. She knows I check those cameras. There's a system installed where I can talk through them. I'll mess with my wife, and she will mess with me if either of us are out of town. She travels for work as well, but far less than I do. The point is it's known that I check them often when I'm not at home. So I turn on the camera, and I see my 4-month pregnant wife lying on the floor, on her side, with Matt sitting, straddling her legs, and using a foam roller to massage her hips. So I'm like, okay, what the hell is this? I start rewinding through the footage, and they are eating and talking normally, but then they get on the couch and get under the same blanket. Now, they are feet to feet, but that couch isn't that big. Then they move to the floor, and that's when I logged in. Anyway, I text her, I'm still watching the cameras. They both look like deer in headlights, and he very quickly leaves. We get into an argument. She isn't mad at me for accusing her, but she's adamant that nothing has or ever will happen and that what I saw was innocent, and she was complaining about being in pain from the pregnancy, which I know is true. She's already having some issues with back pain, etc. The biggest point of that discussion was that I asked, if I were there, would you two have been comfortable doing any of that in front of me? And she reluctantly admitted, no, probably not. I told her I didn't want to talk after that, and we'd talk when I got home 3 days later. That's when it hit me. What if my weird gut feeling about her telling me she was finally pregnant? What if my 1% happened and this is not the child we are having? Now, it eats away at me while I'm at a hotel alone, 1,000 miles away, for 3 days. I reconcile with myself that I think it's less likely than more likely that something between them has happened. But basically, my 1% just jumped to 10%, 20%, maybe more. I get home, and she's on eggshells and doesn't mention it. I'm kind of waiting to see what she's going to do. 2 days later, she finally brings it up and breaks down. She swears nothing has happened, she would never. Doesn't do anything over the top to try and prove anything, which I took as a good sign. But anyway, we talk about the issue and everything to the point of at least moving forward for now. I'm still coping and dealing with it, figuring out how to regain trust after all this time. I'm getting more and more understanding of the fact that they are friends. They've been friends for so long. Maybe he has intentions, but I don't see her having any, and I've never really picked up on it, and I've spent time around both of them many times and never caught anything. So the thing that is destroying me right now is if I'm wrong and something did happen, while I can figure out how to deal with that, what if that child isn't mine? In the argument and few long conversations we've had about the situation, I've never brought that up, and she's not mentioned it. Mostly because I don't want to make the situation worse and crush her if, in fact, she's telling the truth, which I mostly believe. The only thing I can think to do at this point is to wait until the baby is born and immediately order a paternity test in secret. Should I do that? Should I tell her and have it dealt with now? If you're a woman in her shoes and you're telling the truth, would that destroy you or your view of me? If you're lying, what would you do if I asked? I don't want to ask a super vague question, but what do I do? Update 1. So she was out of state on a business trip until late last night. It's Friday, so she worked from home in our kitchen. So I asked to talk, brought it up, and asked for a test. She immediately said yes and said there's zero doubt and nothing that she'd even have a second to worry about. But she has no problem doing it now. The only caveat I left it with is that if it's invasive at all, per our doctors, then I'm okay waiting until it's low risk. So, not sure when we are, but she's aware, and we are getting one. It was a decent and longer conversation. We are currently sitting together, getting lunch. She's got no clue I did this on Reddit, hence the new account, because she is on here somewhere.